Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, coming to you from the studios with locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Also, don't forget, Comfort Temp is our business. Peace of mind is their promise. If you got some AC issues, give our good friends at Comfort Temp a call. Today's program will consist of Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. Then we have Scott Rabalais from the Baton Rouge Advocate. Get his thoughts on the Bayou Bengals, number 3 team in America. Bears lose one last night. Vikings come from behind in the fourth quarter. And I watched, before I went to bed, I watched Peyton and Eli, and they were classic as usual. Let's go to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, and we are joined by our man, Buddy Martin. What's up, buddy?
Good morning, Shane. It's part 2 of As the Orange and Blue World Turns. Interesting conversation yesterday on your show and last night on our program. Obviously, some very upset Gators, and you and I talked about it. We talked about it all night. We'll talk about it again today. At some point, we will turn the page. I don't know when. But Shane, here's the problem I have. Problem is I don't think anything is going to change in Gainesville. And you and I both, we did a thumbs up, thumbs down deal. You and I and friends and Kevin Brockway last night. And I think we all, generally speaking, would like to see Billy find a way to stay as we speak. But Shane, is anything going to ever change?
I don't know the answer to that, buddy. I don't think there's anything you can do right now. There's a lot of speculation out there that there could be, if things don't go well in the next couple of weeks, he won't be around. But I'm not sure they make the interim coach. I'm not sure who you go out and hire. It's kind of a weird situation, quite honestly, so early in the season. So all I look at is as a former guy who played and lost games, won games. You got to put it behind you. You got to go try to win the next game. That's all you can do. Let all the people on the outside think this, think that. None of us have any control over what's going to happen. So I'm not going to waste much energy on it.
Well, I hear what you're saying. We all would like to turn the page, but Gator fans are not going to turn the page, especially if they get blown out this weekend, which could happen. But Shane, let me ask you this. You played on a lot of teams who got beat when they shouldn't have. And how they responded, sometimes they respond in an incredible way. I go back to 1963. In fact, I'm going to do some more research on it, but I was at the game. I was there whenever they played Richmond in what was before it was a swamp. It was Florida Field. And they should have lost that game to Richmond. That was like game 2 of the year or whatever. And I stood next to Ray Graves and heard him say, we have a 0 chance. We have no chance next week against Alabama and Bear Bryant and Tuscaloosa. None. And of course, if you look at your history, we know what happened. They upset Bear Bryant 10-3. And the next year, Steve Spurrier almost beat them. So things can happen. I'm not necessarily expecting that. I agree with Billy. There's a lot of good on the tape, but there's a lot of bad on the tape. I saw very little good except for maybe Jaden Ball and Vernell Brown and a few others. But Shane, we're back to that old 1950s whine. Wait till next year. Next year never came for us back then, except until 1990 when you and Spurrier came to town.
Yeah, a Hall of Fame coach, as I've said multiple times on here. Barone71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Plum, says, QB, do you think DJ leaps in the air when passing too often, or do you think his footwork needs adjustments? Seems off balance a lot. he was off balance a lot last year. I always mention that. People always talk about these off-platform throws, these private coaches teach and all this stuff. I'm 1,000% against practicing off-platform stuff because if you're a natural athlete, off-platform is just a natural thing you do during the course of a game. Meaning, if a guy's coming at you, you may have to drop your arm slot. You don't need to practice that. But that's just my 2 cents for what it's worth. Um, Team Hammerhead says, question for both. Is Lagway's apparent regression caused by a lack of talent or coaching?
I don't know. It's too early to make that call right now. I mean, the guy's a heck of a player. You called it beforehand. You said he didn't have enough reps. What we saw was a young quarterback, what, making his seventh start, maybe? No. And he came out there and he wasn't ready physically. His timing was off, his rhythm was off, and it showed. And you put that together with all the other problems, including actually Vernell Brown, I wouldn't say he dropped it. He failed to catch that ball, which is perfectly thrown, which happens. And I don't necessarily think I'm not laying at the feet of Lagway. I think
No, 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 no. I mean, DJ has not played well. There's no fact. The tape, you watch the game, you can tell. But there's other issues, whether it's uh, offensive line play, which is probably my biggest disappointment so far this year, and D line. I just don't think we cause havoc enough and penetrate and tackles for loss. But it's
well,
two games, still a
yeah,
lot to be played. Um,
yeah. Let me just add to that. There was some certain mediocrity there in the at quarterback at times, caused by cobwebs and youth. And it's not something I expect to see. But there were several other points you mentioned. Obviously we go on with 15 things. Fail to put pressure on the quarterback is one of the things. I love what you said last night. When I ask you, how do you get a young quarterback and teach him not to check it down with 2 and some minutes and change left in the game, and you're battling clock, and you've got to run the football? I thought you had a perfect answer. You said you can talk to him on the headset now, and you tell him, give the ball to 13,
yeah.
13, 13. And if you don't get the first down, kick it away. But do not throw the football. I thought that
Yeah.
was
So all the years that I played and the years that I coached, I tried to give the quarterback a lot of information. I think in today's world, the way they break stuff down in meetings and stuff is not how I was taught. It's too analytical, so to speak. It's not common sense. I'm more of the common sense, make it easy, because that's how Coach Spurrier was. Because
give me an example of that. Give me that example.
I've been in meetings, not just with Florida, but other colleges where it's a basic 5 yard stick route by the tight end, and then you got like a check with me bubble over here, and they could talk about it for 25 to 30 minutes about, well, if you get this look, throw the bubble. If not, play the stick. And we're talking, buddy, it's common sense. If you can throw it out here and that guy can make 4 or 5 yards, throw it out there. If not, hand it off or throw it over here. Common sense, right?
Right.
It's not look at the leverage and this and where's the three technique and where's the safety plan. None of that freaking matters when it's this easy throw or that easy throw. Throw it where there ain't, right? And
Hmm.
so when I was coaching, I used to always tell, and the beauty I loved about the XFL when I got to call plays there is I got to talk to the quarterback.
Hmm.
And literally I would tell him from like a RPO. And this is what I would have told DJ the other day when they called it. I don't give a damn if all 11 guys for the defense are in the box. You are handing it off the next 3 plays.
Go. That's right. It's called
We are
coaching.
making them use their timeouts.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then if we don't get a first down after we run the ball 3 times and people want to boo, I don't give a damn. We're going to make them use their time. I can't remember how many timeouts they had left, but and again, I don't know what they're doing because I don't coach with them. And I'm not saying the way that I would do it is the right way to do it. I just love to tell. I don't care how much a guy studies his playbook. I'm going to be in his ear telling him and reminding him. It's just like when I played. We huddled. When we broke the huddle, I told Willie, you have a post. Kirkpatrick, you got a shallow cross. Rhett, you have the mic to Sam, and you're checking over the ball. Told him every play what he was doing.
That's good.
But that's how I was taught, and that's how my
that's the
brain
proper
works.
way. That's the proper way. You have
It's
coaching.
not the proper way. There's multiple ways of doing it.
But Shane, coaching, I know from 1,000 coaches you have to is telling them over and over and over again. You can't tell a quarterback, especially.
And again, buddy, we don't know that whoever's on the headset may have told them this, and he still threw it.
Well, but Billy said, hey, he told him you got the keys to the car. Do what you got to do. Now, that's not telling him anything. If you say that to a young quarterback, he sees a guy who might be open, chance to win the game. The reality, and I hate to say this at that point, it was not about trying to win the game. It was about trying to keep from losing the game. And you don't throw the football. And that's where the old Darrell Royal, you throw the ball, three things can happen, two of them are bad type thing. I don't want to ever be afraid. But that game, they were up 16-15. They are going to win that football game if they make a first down. And that was agreed. Now, there were other things. Listen, we know, obviously, you mentioned the pressure on the quarterback. Offensive line, I don't know what's happened to the offensive line. Something happened. They're not.
Well, they didn't play great last year, buddy, either.
Well, but we're supposed to see this. Everybody call them the best offensive line in the SEC, or they would name that, I don't know. But there was it just was poor.
Yeah.
So now, Shane, where do we go from here? Is the season gone? Probably not, but maybe. And what do you look to, and how do you get out of this? You just can't turn the page. This will be a stain on the Florida Gators forever.
Yeah, hopefully we can move forward and win games. Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, we invest a lot of money into recruiting high caliber receivers. Our tight end recruiting has been awful. Why aren't we keeping the Ferraris in the garage and riding these Kias? I hear you there. People have heard me for years talk about 4 wides and 5 wides, which I would love to see it 5 plays a game. That's it. No more than 5, because nobody in America plays with 4 and 5 wides anymore. Nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody plays with 11 personnel or 12 personnel, mostly 11. Even the air raid teams now play in 11 personnel. But I would just mix it up a little bit. That's me though. But I hear what people. I don't know why we have all these receivers. I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. If I did, it would be good. Let's get some text here, JC. I called you JC, buddy.
Oh my gosh, I'm quit. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah. This is a text on the Titan Lamar text line. Not sure who it's from. Somewhere locally here in the Gainesville area says, if a defense can hold an opposing team to 18 points, is it too much to ask the offense to score more than 20? I agree. I still didn't think our defense played well. Dan from Jack's Beach sent me a text, but there's nothing on it. He just wanted me telling who he is, I guess.
Okay. Hey, Dan, how you doing out there?
This guy says USF players said they knew the plays. I've seen this. I've heard this. I don't give a damn if they did know the plays. So I will tell you this. This shirt right here says the fun and gun.
Yeah.
Right? 12 years.
Yeah.
We had 5 running plays.
And they all knew them.
We don't care. Even if they know where they're coming, execute, block it up. And here's what I would like to say. There's no way in hell what people don't understand is, and this is for every team in America, not just the Gators, not South Florida. When you run scout team, they have these cards, like sheets of paper, big sheets of paper with the plays that the team runs the most. Okay. They scout, they take your tendencies. That's what the scout team runs the whole week. Okay. So yes, they know what plays we go to. Everybody does that. There's no way in hell they know what's being called. And even if they did, buddy, they don't have time to adjust, right? We don't huddle. We signal the play in. And let's just say they knew our signals. They have no time for Alex Golish to get it to the defense. So anyway, I don't even want to waste time on that because
no, you're hitting on a good point there
because fans think that they know our plays, that's how they stopped us. Yeah. No, they stopped us because we didn't block anybody, people.
Right. the play calling is more of the issue. Who the play caller is doesn't matter as long as the play calling is right. And QB, here's the thing. How do you develop a rhythm? There was no rhythm to the play calling. Would you agree on that?
Well, to get rhythm, you got to throw completions and you got to
Right.
make first downs.
Right.
Okay. When you run off tackle and your guard or tackle missed the block and now
Right.
it's second and 12, you're behind the chains. You hear that all the time.
Right.
It's not easy. Then when it's third and 15, people bitch and complain when we check it down because there aren't a whole lot of plays on a play sheet to be executed and converted on third and 15 because, buddy, if you're a defensive coordinator and it's third and 15, what are you going to tell your guys?
Yeah, you know what to do.
Keep the ball in front of you. Let them complete a 10-yard pass, rally and make the tackle.
Exactly.
Okay. That the play calling is all about rhythm, yes, but we have to execute what's called to get us
How do
moving.
you get into it? Yeah.
Get us moving. That is the key. That is the key. All right, we got a lot of people in here asking, do I think Trammell should get a couple of series? I think if DJ continues to struggle, I don't see why not give Trammell one series or two series like we did with DJ last year. I can tell you this, with him missing a couple of those receivers that were just easiest throws in the world, the hit ball coach may have tried a different guy. Because when you missed the open guy, he put the other guy in and said, go throw it to that guy.
Yeah. Did you subscribe to the theory last night when Fran said, I think he's hurt?
Well, we know he's hurt. He's been hurt. That's why he hasn't practiced.
Far beyond what we think.
I'm sure he is. I don't think he'll ever be healthy here as a Gator.
Well, you don't agree with Fran's that he should get surgery now, do you?
I mean, I'm no expert here, but if he can't play at the level that we expect him to play at, I think it's hurting the football team.
Okay. It's fair.
But he could go light it up in LSU, and we don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But what I've seen from his fundamentals, and a lot of that, his fundamentals look worse than they did last year. And a lot of that could be due to, does his shoulder hurt? Does his calf hurt? Is he, not planning correct? I don't know. I'm not a doctor or a trainer.
You're an expert on quarterbacks.
Right. Well, you don't have to be an expert. I mean, these people that are texting his stuff know that his fundamentals aren't very good. And to be a very good quarterback, you better be fundamentally sound.
All Spurrier quarterbacks were. I don't know, again, speak on the issue of the number of reps Spurrier made you guys take every day throwing the football.
Yeah. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We got Buddy Martin here. We'll have Scott Rabalais from the Baton Rouge Advocate and get his thoughts on the Bayou Bengals. Braun71 says, QB, how often do you think teams practice hook and ladder? Seems like there's so many opportunities in games, not that just last plays to take advantage of the defense. They practice that maybe once or twice a week at the, depending on when they practice their trick plays.
Last play of the game or something.
Yeah. Erod says, I find your comment on DJ's weight or body size extremely interesting. I wonder how much that plays into it. I think he's overweight. That's just me personally.
You've been saying that at 247.
Yeah, there's no reason. He should get down to 225 or 230. Why do you need to be that big?
Maybe to protect. I don't know.
Buddy.
I don't know.
Look at the National Football League where they're grown-ass men trying to kill people in that league. And Josh Allen's about 235, but he moves around really well. He's got great feet. But Jaden Daniels, he may be 210 at the most. If you're going to line up and you're going to run quarterback power, okay, I'm fine with you being 247. But we're not doing that. That's just my two thoughts. This is from, not sure, someone in the Orlando area says, good morning, Shane. If the season continues this way, how long do you think it will take for fans to stop being mad and just stop caring? I'd rather the fans be mad than not care. I agree. I think fans are always going to care. Fans want to see wins. That's the bottom line. They want to see
I got a
wins.
really interesting text in the middle of the night on Saturday from a friend of mine who knows coaching, been around the ball, out of ball, followed the Gators for 30 years. And he says, every one of my friends has given up on Billy Napier. We don't like him as a play caller. We give it up. But we're not going to quit on the team. I've got a group of people, like 9 guys, 6 of them are over 60 and 3 of them are 35 to 45. And we're all going to the game. We're going to go to Baton Rouge, continue to support the Gators. So while I don't think they'll just walk away, I think they're not going to support the concept that Billy's the play caller and will continue to say they need to bring somebody else in. And guess what? You've been telling me this for 2 years. He's not going to give up calling plays.
No,
He said that again yesterday. He was asked.
yeah. And buddy, again, people can say what they want to say about Billy, play calls, all that stuff. Look, I watched the game again. Was it a perfect game? No, nobody ever calls a perfect plays. He dialed up some really good plays that we did not execute. Now he called some plays at some bad times that were questionable, but you can see that in every football game you watch. I think fans just think because what they've seen from Billy that again, I don't even want to go down this road anymore because I have my opinion. Everybody else has their opinion. I've been in locker rooms. I've been in meetings. I've watched tape. Maybe y'all are smarter than I am. I don't care if you are or not. I'm just going by. I think somebody thinks we're going to come in here and run Art Briles, Josh Heupel's offense. You're not going to do that. I don't like that offense. First of all, it's never won anything. There's not one person that's run that kind of offense ever won anything. But anyway, I'm not even going to get into play call and all that stuff because again, buddy, it is a 3-phase football team, and somebody still needs to tell me if we're any good on defense because I am seriously concerned that we are going to get shredded by the LSU offense.
You think LSU is going to beat
If you cannot pressure Garrett Nussmeier, he is going to dice you to death. Slice and dice.
Well, L.J. McCray getting hurt didn't certainly help anything. The loss of the season, man. That's a loss. A young pressure from coming guys like that. Here's the thing. The game that they lost, and let's move on after this, it's not just a one-game loss, okay? That's the problem.
Right. You're exactly right. It's the 4 years of everything people have seen.
That's right. And the reality that what we suspected, we know Billy is no Spurrier or Urban Meyer.
We're not going to hire anybody like that. I'm telling you.
And he's also he's not a championship coach. Right now, if I had to say, after watching this for the last 60-something years, I'd say Billy is destined to be somewhere between Ron Zook and Ray Graves.
Yeah.
And that didn't end well for Ron Zook, and Graves had a good run, but back in his day, the expectation was just get to a bowl game. So anyway, that's the reality, and it's going to be a long year. A lot of good on the tape. We better see more of it.
Yeah. And David says, hey, Shane, who's ultimately in charge of all 3 phases? Billy, you're welcome. I've never said he isn't. But I'm also saying that when we do have stuff, coaches coach, players play. Okay. I've been both. And you got to go out and freaking execute as well. I don't care if you have the worst play call. The players have to go do their job as well. Coaches have to do their job, trying to put them in a position to be successful. But somebody here asked on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Pump, Mike says, QB, were any of Spurrier's plays questionable, you think? Absolutely. Coach was one of the greatest play callers of all time, but not every play worked. You have to give the defense credit at times. I don't know if anybody watched the National Football League this week. There's some pretty good coaches in that league that screwed up. There's some really good players in that league. They're the best players in the world that screwed up. I look at it from both ways here. So I don't have any idea. I don't know what the people want. Do they want Urban and Coach Spurrier to
come back? Points being scored.
No. We're not talking about just one game, buddy. We're talking about the program.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I think there's no answer.
So for Florida to get back to the Spurrier and Urban Meyer, you better find a Hall of Famer.
Well, let's see. Who is that?
Find a Hall of Famer
Mm.
because it seems like I say it every day on this show.
Jimbo Fisher. That's who's Franz mentioned last night.
I
Oh,
don't know.
Fisher's available.
I don't know. I'm not going to go into coach picks right now because I don't really care. I don't think it matters. Because are you going to try to hire somebody that's under contract at a school right now? Or are you going to hire somebody that's been sitting at home collecting checks? And
Well,
why is he collecting
you
checks? Because he
brought it
got
up.
fired.
Yeah, you brought it up, and I think like last night we said we all voted, said thumbs up or down. We said up for right
Well, yeah,
now.
because there's you have to go through the season.
Well,
Everybody wants John Gruden, and I don't understand that at
I
all.
don't. I don't want John Gruden.
John Gruden is like a 500 football coach,
Yeah,
and he loves to run the football and throw short passes. So
yeah,
I have nothing against him because I was with them for 2 weeks, so they cut me for Chris Sims,
yeah.
and he's great, but he's he's very similar to Billy in my opinion. He loves two tight ends.
Mm.
So Dan
That
says
person
Brian
is out
Schottenheimer.
there. You've also got this massive buyout. Would make no sense to do this right now. You're going to have to bite the bullet and get to the season, unless they want to spend the 20-something million dollars, which they claim they have, to go ahead and say, let's make who the coach and finish the season. I mean, first of all, I've got to be an idiot to take this team right now with the season they got coming up with their schedule. Anyway, I don't have the answers. I think we need to see some evidence.
Here's the thing, buddy. It's like I try to tell all my buddies. There ain't a damn thing you can do about it, right?
We
There's nothing.
can complain about it.
Yeah, but what's complaining going to do? I mean,
Nothing.
nothing. Just a waste of time. Mark from West Palm on the Titan Mar text line. Does he get fired after Texas A&M if we are 1-5? I mean, possibly. I don't know who you make the interim though.
I guess I could find somebody. I mean,
Yeah.
I talked to a friend of mine last night. I know you got to go, who's a former coach under Urban Meyer. And I asked him what he thought. He said, awful. And I said, what do you think about, Florida? He said, what a great place to coach, what a great facility, and it's wonderful. And he said, he said, people are looking at that program and saying, they fired too many coaches. They can't keep firing coaches. Well, here we are now talking about firing another coach. We're never going to catch up, Shay. We keep firing coaches.
Yeah, but Shelvin says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melvin Law, Shane, we want a coach who's not going to blow it for us in terms of wins and losses in 40 games. Coaching moves have cost us 6 games. I'm not going to argue. I agree. I agree. I agree. So, anyway, so Travis says, give me Kiffin. Clayton says, Will Stein. He's the OC at
Kevin seems to be the
Oregon.
hot name again, but why would he leave Oxford?
Yeah, I mean, he can retire there and take over as the
And
greatest
he loves
over
Oxford now.
over
His family. He loves
Johnny Vault and
Yeah. Johnny Ball, yeah.
but I would think let's see how Alabama plays out too. They could be in the mix as well. But Reggie says if you look at UF's hiring record, we do not make splash hires. Every coach was a maybe even Spurrier or Urban. That's very true. Very true.
Listen, I know the history of how Spurrier was hired, and he almost wasn't. If Bill Arnsberg had his way, he wouldn't have been hired.
Correct.
I know the history of how Urban was hired, whatever. And it didn't happen like it was just somebody said, oh, let's identify this genius. We'll go get him. Things have to happen, have to be a little bit of fate involved. And I don't know what kind of hand fate's going to deal us this time.
Yeah, 31 Ember says Gruden never drafted a good QB and never built a winning team. I agree with that. So,
That's something. I mean, still say he did with anything.
well, he won a Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's players.
Yeah, well, it didn't matter. He won it. Tony, what the heck? Give him credit.
Right, but he's a 500 coach.
I'm not a Gruden guy. I'm just saying he did win something.
I don't care. A coach doesn't have to have a championship for me to hire him.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean anything to me. All right.
Dan Lanning, how do you think I am?
Dan Lanning's outstanding, but Dan Lanning is in a gold mine right now.
I know, but he's kind of got a Florida background too.
He does?
I think so. A little bit. Anyway, the point is that there are guys, there are dudes. If they make a change, they'll find somebody. I just kind of wish we'd play it out and see what happens.
Well, we're going to have to. We have no choice right now because, like I said, it's like I don't know who even the interim would be. Do you?
I heard you say it. I heard you say to your partner JC, under no way, no how, that there would be enough money for you to call plays for the Florida Gators. You said that.
No, but buddy, let's listen.
Right? I heard you say it.
I would love to, but here's the thing. There are going to be times when if I were to call plays, good plays, and there are going to be some shitty plays, okay? And people are going to complain. I just don't know. I don't understand how I would love
that's the main problem.
I want to sit and watch a football game with all our listeners. Not a Gator game. Let's watch somebody else. Let's watch Alabama play Wisconsin. Or let's watch the Georgia-Tennessee game. And I can guarantee you there's going to be 50 great plays and 50 bad plays.
Yeah.
But everybody, all they care about is the Gators. I get it. But anyway. All right. We're gonna let's see if Scott's on. Who's on your show tonight, buddy?
Lauren Meadows has got the lowdown tonight. He's got Rob Brown. He'll have another couple of guests. I'm probably going to be doing a little spot tonight as I head back to Panama City. Be a good time, good show. We've had lots of good responses and quite a big crowd. So when you're on Monday nights.
Yep. All right. Buddy, have a good day.
You're out of things to ask me, aren't you?
No. So buddy, I got Facebook going. I got YouTube going. I got this text line going.
Go get that.
Trying to find out where Scott Rabalais is.
Right.
David says it's time to get
here and have a good day. All right.
You have a great day, buddy.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time. That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We'll take a quick time out. Hopefully, we'll have Scott Rabalais from the Baton Rouge Advocate. If not, we got plenty of content here we can go over, folks. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Meals Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Coach, you know, it always impressed me how you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
International Diamond Center Studios. Whenever Meyer wanted to introduce his high-quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC and his team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorn's Liquors. Go beyond with smooth Los Landeros tequila. We're waiting on Scott Rabalais from the Baton Rouge Advocate. Some of these comments crack me up. These people are funny. I do believe with Mark SRK on YouTube, he says Gruden's brother's a better play caller than John. Yeah, Jay Gruden's a really good play caller, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I think we have Scott. I think he's on mute right now. Scott, can you hear us, my man?
Yes, I can. Little operator error on my end trying to get to you, but I'm finally here.
All good. I appreciate you taking the time to join the program. Let's start off first. LSU 2-0, number 3 in America right now. Have a lot of guys they got out of the portal. They win a big game at Clemson. They sputtered around last week against Louisiana Tech. Have they played their best game yet?
I don't think so. I think the defense has played about as well as they can. I think the offense has been, only scored 20 points in the first 2 games. A bit of a letdown against Louisiana Tech. Going to Clemson, we still got to see how good Clemson is, but going there and they do have a good defense. I think the fact they had 17 points wasn't surprising, although they could have gotten another touchdown or a field goal in that game. So. I think there's room to improve. The offensive line can improve and that sort of thing. So I think, would they play their best game this week? I don't know. I think they'll show a better effort against Florida. I think La Tech got them in a good spot. But, no, there's definitely room for growth on this team, like a lot of teams this time of year.
When you look at this Florida game, obviously last year in the Swamp, Florida upsets LSU. Garrett Nussmeier was under a lot of pressure. I haven't seen a pass rush like what I saw, how we rushed the passer against him last year in 2 games this year. I think y'all lost some offensive linemen. How is the O-line play? Can they protect Garrett Nussmeier?
Yeah, they had to completely retool the offensive line with 4 new starters, and then the one starter they had, DJ Chester, wasn't a starter. He's probably going to start this game at center where he was last year because the center, Braylon Moore, transferred from Virginia Tech, got hurt on the very first play last week, suffered something close to a high ankle sprain. Brian Kelly wouldn't call it a high ankle sprain yesterday, but he's very definitely questionable. They're going to try to get him going, but yeah, it takes time. It takes chemistry, and that's. They've protected Nussmeier fairly well. He's not a running quarterback, but he's got some ability. He's had to roll away from pressure and this sort of thing a good bit, and was sacked 3 times Saturday night. But their run blocking has not been very good. I mean, you can't take away the big runs. They had 2 runs of over 40 yards, but on all aside from those plays, aside from the sacks and taking a knee on the last play of the game, they averaged like about 2.3 yards per carry against Louisiana Tech, and that just wasn't very good. And it was a similar thing against Clemson. It's been a very feast or famine thing, mostly famine for LSU with the run game, which is kind of what it was last year. You know, Nussmeier threw for part of the reason why Nussmeier threw for 4,000 yards. So that's something that's got to improve, and but getting it to improve this week against Florida, and if Braylon Moore doesn't play, is going to be problematic for sure.
Andy's question on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, Scott, has Jack Pyburn said anything about facing his former teammates this Saturday?
We talked to players on. It was a good question. We talked to players on Tuesday. So if we get him, we're going to get him later today. So no, he didn't talk after the game, and if he said something in the preseason about Florida, I'm sure he did, but nothing that I recall. He's played well. While I'm mentioning him, he's played very well for LSU. 6 tackles. He's got half a sack. They're good on defense. This defense has vastly improved from 2 years ago, and improved a lot from last year. And he's certainly part of the reason. They've been good at all 3 levels with the Weeks brothers, Witt and West, and Harold Perkins, basically a linebacker, and the secondary, and on the line with the guys like Pyburn. They have depth and speed, and they gave him 1 touchdown to La Tech, but they're going to have 1 touchdown per game. And with the field goal they gave up to Clemson was Clemson got the ball after a fumble at like the LSU 24. So they've done a very good job in these first 2 games.
Yeah. Back to the offense. Obviously, Garrett Nussmeier is one of the top quarterbacks in America. LSU's always has dudes on the outside at wide receiver. What can you tell us about the wide receiving core?
Yeah, that's been kind of interesting. They haven't had the really big play so far. Teams have given a lot of underneath stuff, and they've taken somewhat advantage of that. But just a lot of shorter throws. Aaron Anderson is back from last year. There's a real chemistry with Garrett and Aaron, as you might imagine. Transferred in from Alabama a couple of years ago. Again, they have a lot of depth there. Barry Brown was one of their top receivers the other day. Nick Anderson, transferred from Oklahoma, and then Xavier Thomas has been one of the stars of this team so far, offensively. Not just receiving the ball, but running the ball. They've done some very creative things with him. He's their second leading rusher with 9 carries for 80 yards in 2 games, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot for a wide receiver. Obviously, lining him up in the backfield and motioning him around to take handoffs and that sort of thing. And he's also got 5 catches for 54 yards. So you asked about tight ends. I will say about in the receiver group, including yes, about wide receivers, including the tight ends in the receiver group. Trey'Dez Green is also injured. Suffered a sprained MCL against Louisiana Tech, and he's also questionable for the game. I think that's kind of some sugarcoating on LSU's part. You wouldn't expect him to play after a sprained MCL, not a season-ending injury. So it might be something where, you don't see him this weekend. And he caught a touchdown pass against Clemson, and is a very talented sophomore, 6'7". So he's someone to watch for if he can play. But the receivers are deep. They got a lot of guys who can catch the ball. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers have caught the ball so far, at least one ball so far, and so they can throw it around. It's just they haven't quite gotten that real big, deep bomb that they would like to have from a Chris Hilton or a Barry Brown just yet.
Florida Cracker is the brand for original Floridians. Great food and southern hospitality in the center of the University of Brooksville, Florida. FloridaCracker.com. We got Scott Rabalais from the Baton Rouge Advocate. Baron 71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, QB, can you ask Scott how Cory Raymond is doing coaching and recruiting? It seemed odd that his years at Florida were viewed as disappointing compared to his prior years at LSU.
I think everyone here was very happy that they got Cory back. You know, it was puzzling to fans and media alike that Brian Kelly did not keep Cory when he formed his new staff. But that's, you know, there was no relationship there, but it seemed like a mistake. Kelly has rectified a lot of those mistakes. Everyone on his staff, and I mean everyone of his position coaches, has got a Louisiana tie. And of course, Cory played at LSU, as a lot of people know, and is from Louisiana. I think everybody's very pleased. The secondary has done very, very well, especially this year. They got some talent. They pulled in some really good players from the transfer portal, like AJ Halsey, a safety from Houston, and Mansur Delane, a cornerback from Virginia Tech. And then DJ Pickett, the freshman cornerback from Florida, who was a 5-star, who was probably the highest ranked player of their class. Now, this is partially because of a prior relationship between him and Cory Raymond. I'm not sure. I mean, coaches they recruit all over the place, obviously, when they're on staff, not in state. But I think everyone feels like Cory's definitely been part of the solution under Blake Baker. If anyone, you know, Blake Baker gets a lot of the credit for how good the defense is. Look, you know, it was a pretty low bar for LSU to clear, you know, how the defense has looked really since 2019, when they won the national championship. But this is looking like certainly their best defense since then, if not better. And while Blake Baker gets a lot of the credit, I think Cory Raymond, among the position coaches, gets and probably deserves a lot as much credit as or more than anyone. So yeah, they're very happy to have Cory back and doing the job he is coaching and recruiting.
What's the pulse of the Tiger fan base on Brian Kelly? It seems like, you know, all summer long, I felt like some coaches on the so-called hot seat in the SEC, like Hugh Freeze, Brent Venables, a lot of people said Billy, and some people had like Brian Kelly in that mix just because, you know, the Tiger fans, they want to go win the SEC and compete for a national title. What's the pulse of the fan base?
Well, LSU is like a lot of places, probably, you know, the ideal thing would be to win the national championship and go undefeated every year and still fire the coach. So you could have the drama of hiring a new coach every year, you know, to enjoy in the off season. I thought, and I think it's echoed by most people who cover LSU, not the fans, but Brian was on any real jeopardy of being fired going this year. I mean, he was 29-11 his first 3 years. Nothing spectacular, but certainly not bad. He certainly didn't have a season like happened at Florida State last year. Is this one for your Florida fans? You know, that is going to remind Florida State that they went 2-10 last year, or Oklahoma State last year, where you go, oh, Mike Gundy's really in the hot seat this year, and of course just got pasted by Oregon. I don't think there's anything like that for Brian Kelly. I think the seat was warming and is getting warmer, and it is probably still kind of warm. You know, people, in general, have not really embraced Kelly. You know, but you know, to this point, that was the case early on under Nick Saban, of course, and then they won the SEC championship. They got hot late in the season, and second half of the season, 2001, and then of course 2003 they won the national title under Saban. At Orgeron, they didn't kind of embrace Les Miles, but he started out so well, and then they kind of had to. But Ed Orgeron was, God, the guy lost a lot at Ole Miss, but he's one of us. You know, he's a Louisiana guy. Yeah, Brian, you know, never coached in this region of the country, didn't have any ties to LSU. Seemed like kind of a mercenary decision to come to LSU from Notre Dame, where he was their winningest all-time coach. But I think people were ready for them to lose that season opener again for the 6th straight year and really be mad at Brian Kelly. And then they beat Clemson. It's like, yeah, I had someone email me. I thought it was pretty telling. They're like, yeah, I'm happy the Tigers won, but I still don't like Brian Kelly. You know, I think that's kind of the attitude. But you know, is he the most, you know, endearing, likable coach that's ever come down the pike? No. But he's very no nonsense, and he's won everywhere he's been, you know, and he's going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame whenever he's done. So I think they're grudgingly have accepted him, but Is he ever going to quite be their cup of tea? No, and they're still wondering still wondering a little bit how good this LSU team has been. But I think he's probably winning a few more converts this season, grudgingly.
Before we get you out of here, Scott, I used to know this, and I don't know if it's concussions and I just forgot. We've had a bunch of people comment on here. What is the tradition behind the number 18 for LSU and number 7? Nussmeier's wearing 18 this year. He's always worn 13. That was his dad's number.
Right.
But right. I can't remember what the 18 and 7 are all about.
18 started. I can tell you, 18 started with Matt Mock in 2002, 2003 when he was their quarterback. Of course, led LSU to he got hurt in the Florida game in 2002. I mean, if anybody remembers that, it was a big win for LSU in Gainesville, but he got hurt late in the game and hurt his foot and didn't play the rest of the season. Came back in 2003, won the national championship, and from then on, he kind of started this tradition on his own of passing down the number 18 to the next player, and that's become a symbol of not always the captain, but someone who has the respect of the team, who's a leader. Sometimes it's a guy on offense and defense, but significantly or just coincidence, Nussmeier is the first quarterback since Matt Mock to wear the number 18. And if anybody's a leader on the team, it would have been Matt. I think a lot of us thought Whit Weeks, who led the team in tackles last year, their highest rated player in the preseason All-American, All-SEC teams, might have gotten it, but he stayed with number 40. The number 7 is just great players. A lot of great players at LSU have worn number 7. More great players have worn the number 7 at LSU than any other number. And on offense and defense, we're talking about Tyrann Mathieu and Patrick Peterson and Leonard Fournette and Burt Jones, going way back to the day, my favorite player growing up as a kid, and certainly dating myself. More great players have worn number 7 than any other number, and I think that's kind of a honorific from the coaches to say we think this guy is great. And Harold Perkins, while hasn't been great at LSU, certainly has shown that potential, and he's coming off this knee injury last September, has played great so far. So he could be the next one. I think they've had seven All-Americans wear number 7 at LSU, so that's a lot for one number, and they think it means they think very highly of you in terms of your talent and ability.
Very cool. All right, last thing. I didn't realize this, but you have a book you wrote on 100 years in Death Valley. How's that going? How long did it take you to write it? And I mean, I tell people this all the time. I think Death Valley on a Saturday night is the greatest venue in all of sports. But how was it writing that book?
Well, thank you for asking. Yeah, it was. It's gone well. It's a second printing. I did it through our newspaper, so I use a lot of our photos, and it's full of photos and other things besides football. Like I got a picture of Ronald Reagan came to give the commencement in Tiger Stadium with him, or Garth Brooks, and Taylor Swift. They both sang in Tiger Stadium. I don't know how many big concerts they have in the swamp, but they've done a few here in the last 15, 20 years. It was a lot of work to do it last year. I knew the 100th anniversary of the stadium was coming last November. That was Tiger Stadium turned 100, and I knew I had to do it, but I couldn't decide what kind of format to do it. So I finally figured out something, and then I just jammed it in with all the work I was doing with this. And then I went to cover the Olympics last year in Paris, and I did a lot of stories on Louisiana athletes and LSU athletes leading up to the Olympics. So I didn't work so hard in my life as I did in 2024, but it was all worth it. And it was it is, I'm sure lots of your listeners have come to a game in Baton Rouge at some point. It's always better at night. And I think the fact that, this game will start in daytime with a 7:30 Eastern kickoff. It'll be light, but it will get dark, during the first half, and it should be another great atmosphere. And let me say real quick, as you may have mentioned, LSU and Florida have played every year since 1971 and played a lot of games before that. Over the years, obviously, when Spurrier was the quarterback in 1958 when LSU won the national title, LSU won a very close game against Florida here in Baton Rouge. And now with the new SEC schedule format, we don't know when they're going to play again. I mean, they could be permanent opponents. I kind of doubt it that Florida and LSU are going to be each one of their 3 permanent opponents. And but there's been a lot of great games, and you've played them and you've watched them. There's been a lot of great games between these two teams, and both teams have won over the years. And it'll be kind of a shame if they don't play every year. But we'll see where the schedule goes from here. But I just thought I'd mention it because this is, for a lot of LSU fans my age and younger, Florida, because LSU lost to Florida so many times, to you and other players in the 90s and 2000s, that Florida is the team that they dislike the least, dislike the most rather. And but they have to admit they've faced a lot of great Florida teams, and have been a lot of great games won by both teams over the years. And one of those things, progress, I guess. But if it goes away, it'll kind of be a shame.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Scott, great stuff as always. I appreciate your time. See you in the press box Saturday night, my man.
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Shade.
Yep, that's Scott Rabalais from the Baton Rouge Advocate. Join us on the Take No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. The Pouncey Twins provide all of Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorite flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Can't get to everybody's questions, but I love everybody's comments. We'll be here tomorrow, JC and Mike Morgan. So we'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care.